Okay. Well, whenever you're ready to start.
Okay.
And if we have some other folks coming in, I'll let them in. I've got.
Okay. Sounds great.
Great.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me okay. My name is Brittney Klueger, and I'm a licensed professional counselor, and I'm the clinical director with Family Menders. And I appreciate you taking time out of your day. We're going to go over mindfulness, self-care, and meditation, which I think are so important in this year that we've had, and especially this time of year going into the holidays, so that we can all nourish ourselves and so we can flourish going into 2021. So I do have a presentation. If you have any questions, you can raise your hand, or I'll have where you can ask questions at the end as well. Okay. So one of the biggest aspects of mindfulness is just being present in the moment. Mindfulness is a term that we're hearing more and more as part of DBT, which is therapy, dialectic behavior therapy, and really achieving a state of focusing on what's going on right that moment. We want to achieve that so that you can really enjoy those moments, not being stressed and thinking about your to-do list or your housework or child's schoolwork, but really focusing on the moment and trying to enjoy it. It's usually hard for most of us because our brains are going 90 miles an hour, but we want to give you some techniques that you can do to use mindfulness. And I think it's particularly important in the field that we're in to have this, because we deal with so many emotional factors every day. I know when I worked at DFACS, some of those things from 20 years ago, I still think about, and I have sleepless nights now as clinical director worrying about things. And so it can go over into your personal life, and we want to make sure that you're taking care of yourselves. You have to have your cup full to be able to give to others. So the first part is mindfulness exercises that you can try today. The first one is mindful breathing. I know that that's a part of meditation too, but truly taking the time to breathe in and breathe out. A true breathing cycle should take 6 seconds. So just giving yourself time when you're getting stressed to take 2 minutes and just inhale and exhale. It's amazing what it can do to your brain functioning, and also just help you to be in the moment. Mindful observation is the next one, and that's really seeing what is around you. For example, if you've gotten out today on this rainy day, but do you even remember what color car was in front of you? We just take for granted the things around us. Nature is a huge part of observation, really looking at the sunshine, which is huge for brain development and also for depression, just getting outside every day if you can, and looking at your surroundings. Really watching at Christmas, your family opening gifts. That's a huge aspect. Instead of thinking about what's in the oven or what you need to wrap for the next outing you may be going to, but focusing on their reaction, on their facial expressions, but just observing everything around you and taking it in. The next aspect of mindfulness is awareness. This is a hard one for me. The smell of food, physical action of typing and watching your muscles move while you're working. Also, so many of us are doing telework right now, and making sure you give yourself time to stand up and move your muscles, just being aware of your body and how you're feeling. We all know that we are more likely to get sick when we are not taking care of our bodies. And so just being aware of your internal cues. An example of this is, drinking your coffee, not just focusing on getting that caffeine in you, but the taste, the smell, the warmth of the coffee. Listening is the next aspect. And I know that most of us talk to numerous people a day, and sometimes we're just anxious to get off the phone and get to our next task. But really, mindful listening is listening to the person that's talking to you, not thinking of what your reply is going to be, being non-judgmental, but just really listening to their words and then responding, trying not to interrupt. Mindful immersion is feeling of the motion. This sort of goes into what I was saying about typing. An example can be sweeping. That's such a daily chore that you have to do, or cleaning anything in general, but taking that into your muscle movement, really focusing on what you're doing, not just going in the day in and day out aspects of things. And then mindful appreciation. This is the biggest aspect of mindfulness to me as a therapist, just really being thankful for the things we have. It's hard, you know, with everything. We've had so many changes this year, and I know I have a child and schoolwork, and some days are at home and some days are at school, and there's just no routine. But just being appreciative that you have a roof over your head, that you have a job, that your health is good. A good thing to do is hold up both hands and count 10 things that you are thankful for, but really appreciating the things that you do have instead of focusing on the things that are outside of your control. Going into meditation, I'm not sure if any of you meditate. There are lots of apps out there. My favorite is Calm, and it has a 7-day free trial, so you can try that. Or Insight Timer is completely free and great for beginners. But this slide just goes into the different aspects of meditating. I do it before I go to bed at night. I don't sit on the floor like this person's sitting, but I just try to really breathe, relax my arms and hands, legs and feet, thinking about my emotions from the day, trying to leave it so I can go to sleep and have a good night's rest. Eyes are a huge part of meditation. Closing your eyes is one of the key aspects, so that you aren't looking around at the dust on the table beside you, but just really getting into your mindset. And then meditation doesn't have to be this 30-minute thing. It can be 5 to 10 minutes a day. It's a great start to your day and a great end to your day. But I liked this because it just makes it into a good, you know, visual of how easy it is for you to meditate. Both of those aspects go into self-care, and I really wanted to spend some time going over this. We share this with our team at Family Menders every year, and I think self-care is just so important for us to do what we need to do with the children and families that we serve, and then also to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves mentally, emotionally, and physically. It gets overlooked by so many, but it is key to improved mood and reduced anxiety. And, you know, the aspect of self-care, we all know what it is, but we don't always make the time for ourselves, and making yourself a priority is a key part of this next slide. So one of the reasons we really need to practice self-care is burnout. I know that we all have met a person that's burned out in our field, and you can really just talk to them and see the difference. They might have been wonderful 5 years earlier, but they have just became bogged down with everything. It can make increased irritability, quickness to anger. It can get so bad that the person can often lead to paranoia or self-medicate with legal or illegal substances. So we all have to be very mindful of burnout in our field. We have one of the highest percentages of burnout. And the reason of that is compassion fatigue. I know for myself, going into counseling and in grad school and everything, I was going to save the world. And my first job was at an inpatient drug rehab. And I learned real quick that they have to want the help, and that I couldn't just force these people to do things. But most of us, you know, have that compassion for the people that we serve and that we deal with. And then you have compassion for your family and your friends. And so being a helper can be quite hard at times because of the compassion fatigue. You just really have to monitor yourself and make sure that you're not taking on another person's suffering. You do what you can, and you know, we have those bleeding hearts, but we want to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, and also understand that people have to have their own will to want to change things as well. Vicarious trauma and secondary trauma are another aspect. We deal with things that most people in our society don't deal with. My husband, I'll be on the phone with a therapist talking about something, and he'll walk in and he'll just look at me. And when I hang up, he's like, "You just talk about things that are not normal." And, we don't want to make it a norm of child abuse or sexual abuse, but we want to make sure that we're not taking on that trauma too. We deal with it day in and day out. It's not healthy, some of the things that we take on, and we know that these children are hurt, but at the same time, we can only do what we can do. You've got to watch your own reaction to the traumas around you and make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And that's why self-care is so important, so you do not take on that vicarious trauma. It's so hard because most of us are crazy busy. We have stressful jobs, we're consumed with technology, and we don't always make time for ourselves. I have made it a rule that I'm not going to be on my phone after 8 o'clock at night. I've really gotten into reading lately, and that's been a great self-care for me that I had gave up for many years. But another aspect is feeling guilty for taking time for yourselves. And please know that to be successful in life, you have to put yourself as a priority. Self-care is physical, mental, and emotional. It's not just eating healthy or getting enough sleep. Those are key components, but you have to take in all of the different areas. On the side here, you'll see just some simple things that you can do. Go for a walk. I like to do that since I've been working from home more and more to separate my work from my home life. I like to go for a walk and I just breathe and get some exercise in and take the day's weight that's on my shoulders and try to leave it at the door when I come back in so that I can tend to my family. Playing with a dog is a huge thing as well, taking a long bath, reading, any of those physical things to help you be in a calm state. Emotionally, we already talked about meditation, but practicing yoga, simple thing of lighting a candle, talking with a friend. It's hard to get out right now with the pandemic, but if you can get out to see people, I think that's a key component that's been missing for so many this year, and they feel very lonely. But if you can even use technology to try to Skype with friends, or you can Zoom and have a Zoom book club. There's just a number of things that people have really gotten creative with. I love these bullets. Give yourself permission to need something and don't feel guilty about it. Keep it simple with self-care. Do one thing a day. Start out with one thing a day. Have someone that is a self-care partner that will encourage you, and you say, hey, did you do any self-care today? And then they ask you as well. Stop comparing yourself to others. I think social media has a big aspect of this, and that we see other people doing certain things and we wonder why we're not doing that. But you have to know that people are posting their best life usually on Facebook and social media. Another aspect is knowing which part of the day is the hardest for you and have a plan to make that go more smoothly. My mornings are always my most productive and my most stressful. I know that I need to have some me time in the morning before my household gets up and going, so that I can go into the day with a clear head. There's lots of online support groups as well. Then have downtime every day. Have something that you look forward to. I'm still a paper agenda person. I do have a lot of things on my Outlook and my calendar online, but I like to have my daily activities and then look at the bottom and see that I have dinner that night out with a friend, or my favorite team is playing and I get to watch that night. But put some good things in your calendar as well. And then really focus on the positive. That's a huge part of mindfulness, but it's of self-care too. Instead of getting into the negative Nancy aspect, just really focusing on the things that you are thankful for. In the pandemic, calmness is something that we really want to push. This has been an aspect with our staff as well, with so many changes that have came this year. But spend 10 minutes in the morning visualizing a calming place like the beach or mountains. I love sitting on my back patio. I don't have a great view, but I just love sitting out there having my coffee and getting my head in the right mindset for the day. Practice the deep breathing. That's in every aspect of self-care, and it's proven to do so many physical things for your body. The news, we know that's a big aspect for many of us, and there's so many negative things in our world right now, and a lot of injustices and different things going on. But try to limit your talk about the pandemic or about your worries. This too shall pass is one of my favorite sayings, and I do feel like we're going to learn a lot from everything we went through this year, but at the same time, I don't want it to completely consume everything. Avoid multitasking, focus on one thing. That's a huge part of working from home as well. You can be working, but you have laundry going, or you hear the mailman outside, but just really trying to focus on the task at hand. And then those helpful apps, already spoke of Calm and Insight Timer, but 10% Happier and Headspace are some other apps that you can get on your smartphone. The last aspect is making a self-care plan. And I did send this to Jeannie earlier so she can send it to you guys. I have one of these on my refrigerator. I update it every month because things can change. But really think about what kind of activities would help you to take care of your mind. What can you do? Just one thing a day that will help you physically, mentally, and emotionally. What kind of activities would help you to take care of your body? I know we're going into the new year, and a lot of people make New Year's resolutions of those things, but really making that something you do throughout the year. It can be taking a 10-minute walk every day, just getting outside and getting some fresh air, sleeping better. Sleep is the number one thing in all of the trainings I've done with our staff that people struggle with. They're not getting enough sleep, or they're not getting good sleep. There's apps on your phone you can do to see how much, true rest you are getting, waking up a lot. And if you have young children or other people in your home and animals, there's just so many things that can affect our sleep. So trying to make a good sleep environment. The next aspect for your self-care plan is what makes your soul or your spirit come alive. What are the things that you really need? For myself, it is human connections. I have missed seeing people this year, even though I might see them on a screen. I don't get to see them as I was in person and having that human connection. And then the last one, not next to last, is who's supportive of you. You want to surround yourself with supportive people that are upbeat, that are happy. We all know those people. I have friends that are just by nature more negative, and so I might talk to them, and then the next day I'll talk to someone that is more upbeat and uplifting. And then what do you want to accomplish by fulfilling these self-care needs? A lot of people will eat healthier because they want to lose weight. A lot of people will try to sleep, the good 7-8 hours a night because they don't want to feel so groggy in the morning. But just really thinking about what you want to accomplish. And have an accountability partner. You see on here, it says supportive people in my life, but accountability partners are huge in the aspect of self-care in our field. It can be someone you work with, it can be someone in your home, but really having someone that encourages you to take care of yourself. Those are just the credits at the end. I did, wanted to keep it brief as far as keeping the lunch schedule, but if you have any questions, please unmute yourself and ask. I do hope that these are some things I'm sure you have heard of, but we need to be reminded at times as well.
Brittney, did you say, this was wonderful, by the way, did you say you had shared these slides with Jeannie?
Yes, ma'am, I did. And I also sent blank self-care plans so everybody could do one and put it on their refrigerator.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, I'll make sure that we get those out to everybody.
Perfect. Does anybody have any comments or anything you do for self-care that you'd like to share?
This is Temperance Jacobs with Henry County. So for self-care, I like to plant. On my break, I go out there, check my garden, and pick the weeds for about 30-45 minutes, then come back in. That kind of like calms me down.
Right.
Relaxation time for me. I get to meditate, focus on me, my plants, figure out, how I'm going to go the rest of the day with positive energy. And the plants don't talk back to me. So I don't have to worry about that. So that's
Very
something I do
true.
for self-care.
That's wonderful. And so you're outside too, so that's a key component, but you are correct. You don't have to hear anything from them, and you can just focus on you. So I think that's a great thing. Plus that getting some sunshine is always good for you. Has anybody else done something different this year as far as self-care with the pandemic and taking care of yourselves? No, it's been a stressful time. No.
Hello.
Hey there.
Hi, this is Paulette from Henry County. I normally walk. I normally do maybe 4 miles, try to do 4 miles a day. But since the pandemic, I'm not somehow, because I'm working from home, I don't know what it is. I can't do the 4 miles at one time. So several times a day, I would do a walk. And I hadn't knitted in years. And especially late at night, it would be 11 o'clock at night and I'm knitting. And it relaxes me and it makes me sleep. I have a cup of tea and I have a good sleep.
Good.
And all I need is a few hours and I'm up and ready to go.
Right.
So that's how I'm taking care of myself.
That's wonderful. And you have to give yourself breaks during the day. A big aspect I did in our staff meeting last month was just really working from home is not for everyone. And we know that. We've sort of been forced into different situations. But having that work-life balance is harder when your computer's right in front of you all the time. But give yourself some breaks during the day, just like you would at the office. Try to stay on your work schedule, but turn it off when the day's done. Not if you're on call, but we want you to make sure that you have a set place that you're working, and so you can keep it separated from the rest of your home. I know that so many people are sitting on the couch or sitting in the bed. I have to be at a desk. That's just me. That's how I function better. And then when I leave my office at home, I'm done for the day unless I have a crisis call that night. But I don't open up my computer again. Another aspect with technology is, the moment I wake up in the morning, I can get on my phone and check email. I've really gotten away from that and wait until day really starts with work. I need to do my morning routine so that I can then function. But if I open that up at 5:30 in the morning, then I'm already thinking about those things and not focusing on everything else I need to do before the work day starts. Anyone else want to share what you've been doing or what you would like to do? Well, I do definitely appreciate your time today. I hope that you will make a plan to really take care of yourself, especially during the stressful times we're living in, and make sure that you appreciate the things that you have that are positive and try to focus on those. It's very hard to get into the negative aspects of things with so much going on. And, taking care of you during this time is key for your own health and your physical and emotional well-being. Make sure that you are doing something every day for yourself. You are worth it, and don't ever feel guilty about it.
Brittney, thank you so much. I think this is especially this time of year. This is just all so important. I did see on the chat that someone put in, my self-care is cutting my workday off at 8 hours because it is overwhelming to keep going past 8. And I find working at home, I do that.
Very true. I'm gonna stop the
Yeah.
share. Yeah, and really having that balance of work and home life is hard when work's in front of you all the time, and so you have to really do that balance.
Well, thank you again.
Thank you
And
all.
everyone, I'll get these slides out, and everyone have a great holiday.
Yes, and happy holidays from family members, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.